In a strategic move, Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has named former Director General of the Department of State Services, Lawal Daura, as his running mate for the Allied People's Movement presidential ticket. Allied People's Movement, APM. That is Seyi Makinde's party. Allied People's Movement. The announcement made at the party's national convention in Bauchi is a clear declaration that the opposition is preparing for a serious challenge to the ruling establishment. The APM presidential candidate, Seyi Makinde, made the announcement at the elective national convention held at the Rewanu Adamu Square, Government House, Bauchi State. Remember Daura? You remember Lawal Daura? Do you remember the siege on the National Assembly when Oshibajo was the acting president and Bukola Saraki was the Senate president? I remember Lawal Daura. Seyi Makinde has picked Lawal Daura as his running mate. Seyi Makinde is the presidential candidate of the Allied People's Movement, APM. Daura replaces Ibrahim Bala. Daura replaces Ibrahim Bala, who had been serving as a placeholder. The former DSS chief joined the APM only days ago. He resigned from the African Democratic Congress, ADC, after losing the Katsina ADC governorship ticket. And that loss now appears to have opened the door to a far more significant national role. Speaking on Daura's selection, Makinde emphasized that the choice was deliberately calculated to address one of Nigeria's most pressing crises, the worsening security situation across the country. With banditry, kidnapping, and insurgency continuing to plague the Nigerian state, Makinde signals that his administration would prioritize safety as a pillar of governance. I'm looking at Seyi Makinde making comments on his foreign policy. I look forward to hearing from the governor on his foreign policy. Makinde is operating at the national level now. I'm looking at discussing his foreign policy with him. Seyi Makinde is running to be president under the Allied Progressive Movement, APM.
Let me start by congratulating all leaders who have been elected at today's National Convention, especially my brother, the Executive Governor of Bauchi State, Senator Bala Mohammed, who is today inaugurated as the national leader of our great party, Allied People's Movement. We have emerged as an opposition party to reckon with in just a very short time. As I said during the Ibadan Declaration in April this year, the presence of credible opposition is what sustains democracy. So our new leaders must be ready to work with other opposition parties to ensure that we give Nigerians a credible alternative in the 2027 general election. The forthcoming campaign season will include the usual slogans, promises, and declarations about what different candidates intend to do. But I believe Nigerians must demand something more from all of us who seek to lead you. The 2027 election must be an election about outcomes. For too long, we have measured governance by announcements. We have presented with policy after policy rather than evidence of whether those policies have made people's lives better. When our mothers go to the market, they don't experience economic policy as a statistic. They experience it in what their money can buy. How much rice, how much beans, how much garlic can they take home? The young graduate does not experience job creation policy through a press statement. He experiences it through whether he can find productive work and build an independent life for himself and his loved ones. The farmer does not judge agricultural policy by the size of government programs. He judges it by his productivity, his access to markets, and whether farming leaves him better or worse. And families do not judge security by the number of security meetings government has held. They judge it by whether they can travel, whether they can farm, work, and sleep with their two eyes closed. That, in my view, must become the standard for the coming electioneering campaign. The question before Nigeria in 2027 should not simply be what has government done. It should be what has changed for Nigerians. And those of us who offer ourselves as alternatives must submit ourselves to an equally demanding question. What exactly will we do differently? And what measure in Oyo State? We don't talk about simply what project government has announced, but what has changed in the lives of our people. And this is the political conversation I believe our country needs. We must talk about an economy that moves to prosperity. We must talk about creating productive jobs and opportunities for our young people in a country where 60% or over of the population is young. We must talk about education that prepares our children for the economy they will inherit. Healthcare that people can access, and security that protects Nigerians wherever they live. We must also talk seriously about the structure of our federation. Nigeria cannot achieve its full potential when decisions that should be taken in Osun, in Kano, in Cross River, or Enugu, or here locally in Bauchi must first go to Abuja. We need a federation in which more decisions and resources are brought closer to the people, accompanied by greater accountability for results.